Direction will Republicans go? North Carolina Republican Mark Walker running unopposed for the vice chair of the Republican Conference. Sir, thank you for your time today. Good to have you on our program. When you run unopposed, I guess there's no recount, huh? Because we got a lot of that going on right now. So
yes, we do.
What is your sense about coming off of Tuesday night among your colleagues? What are you thinking when you lose some 30 seats to Democrats?
Well, for most of us, for probably nearly 80 to 85% of us, this will be brand new. Most of the Republicans that have been elected were after the 2010 when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker. None of us like to be in the minority, but I will tell you this, it wasn't frankly the blue wave that we were told, 30-something seats it looks like compared to 63 seats in 2010 and 50-something during the Clinton administration. We have work to do. Obviously, we've got to work on these relationships to continue to carry out our agenda.
Okay, what is your sense about how Nancy Pelosi will approach it? Do you believe the next 2 years will be productive or not, sir?
If we measure it based on the past, I don't want to be pessimistic, but we've not seen anything from Ms. Pelosi that she would be wanting to be some kind of bipartisan, some new transition that she's gone through. I don't see it happening. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be opposed to working on things like middle-class tax reform, additional middle-class tax reform, or infrastructure. There's just no pattern of behavior that would support that.
Well, a moment ago, Mitch McConnell was talking about divided government in America. Here's his comment. I'll ask you about it after this. Watch.
I've always said divided government is not unusual. We've had divided government more often than not since World War II. So what are the American people saying when they elect divided government? I think they're saying, why don't you look for the things you can agree on and do those?
Would you expect that? Your last answer indicated that, but this is Washington.
It is Washington, and you always want to be hopeful and look into the future, but as realists, we also have to base our decisions based on past decisions and past words, and for the minority leader, soon potentially be Speaker, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. I've been talking with many of my colleagues. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks. But we're willing to work with anybody when it comes to meeting the needs specifically for North Carolinians. And if that's the case, then we would be happy for it.
Liz Cheney, she wants to be GOP chair. She said the following on screen. We need to own the daily news cycles. We need to lead and win the messaging wars. Too often we have found ourselves playing catch up without access to useful information, and we have not been on offense. Constantly playing defense in the battle of communications is a recipe for failure. We need to work as a team to use all our messaging tools to drive our agenda. I imagine you don't disagree with that.
No, we've been talking in the last few weeks as far as setting a different path or tone when it comes to our messaging. Too many times we have found ourselves reactionary as opposed to being proactive. Republicans have to do a better job, not just in the policy itself, but building the relationships that build the conduit to take our policies to many of our underprivileged communities. How many times have I heard that Democrats take our votes for granted, Republicans don't really care? Republicans do care, but it's time we proved it.
Well, what is your sense about the ongoing battle for the Senate? Arizona's one battle, and we'll see which way it goes, but you may have a long and nasty fight in Florida, sir.
We may. I was raised in Santa Rosa County, Florida. It's amazing. It looks like the Broward blunder is going to happen again. It's amazing, Bill, to me that folks there in Bay County, some still without power, they can count their ballots, but Broward once again seems to have a problem with it.
Did you say Broward blender?
Yes, I did.
Is that the phrase?
To me, if there's a pattern, I think it would be accurate.
Oh. Mark Walker, thank you for your time, the Republican from North Carolina. We'll see what you get next. Thank you, sir, for coming in today.
Thanks, Bill.
Get back.